Have you ever wondered what you would do if you had extraordinary wealth and influence? Today, I'd like to share a story of a woman who had everything and chose not to keep it only for herself. Countess Viktoria von Butler-Haimhausen was born in Munich in 1811. She was born into influence, privilege, and wealth, the kind of life that would have made it easier for her to just stay comfortable, admired, and distant from the struggles of those around her. She married into the Bavarian royal court, and she lived at Haimhausen Schloss. Here, with her husband, she raised 10 children. But her story is not just one marked by status. It's also one marked by grief. Eventually, Victoria outlived her husband and all of her children. And I think this is important to note because loss can change the questions we ask about our life and what brings us meaning. In 1861, she founded the Armen Mädchen House here in Haimhausen. It was a girls' house for poor girls. It was a school. They were able to live there. This was not just a symbolic gesture, though, but a practical response to real needs in the community. Here, girls were taught skills that led to work, independence, and dignity. Because Victoria understood that compassion means very little unless it creates a path forward. Today, my family, my wife, our daughter, and I live in that historic building, the old schoolhouse that she established. And I have to tell you, there's something powerful about walking through rooms where someone decided to use their privilege for service. As a teacher and someone raising our daughter in that space, I do not think of this story as distant history, but rather a question that keeps following me. What is it like? What does it mean to live within someone else's legacy? That school later became part of what is now Franziskuswerk Schönbrunn in Dachau, an institution that's roots trace all the way back to Victoria's vision. It still continues to support people and families to this day, thousands of them. And her work did not just stop at one school. She founded a homeless shelter, a home for the elderly, and Germany's first workers' hostel. Here, women gained housing, meals, legal advice, and education. Victoria did not just respond to emergencies around her. She was building structures that made survival, safety, and self-determination possible. Later in her life, Victoria remained committed to speaking out, and in the 1890s, she contributed to the International Women's Congress in Berlin. Due to her advanced age, her words were read aloud by a colleague. But I love that image. A woman who was aging and who was limited physically, but still remained strong in her beliefs. And she refused to let her voice disappear. Even at that late stage in life, she insisted that women's dignity and equality mattered. Over the course of her life, Victoria donated an enormous fortune to others. And what stands out to me is not only the scale of her giving, but it's also that she used her social power and influence to encourage others to become allies, including King Ludwig I. She understood that influence is meaningful only when it is used on behalf of others. She was a visionary, and from within her castle walls, she saw inequality, and she refused to look away. She did not mistake her comfort for innocence, and she understood that being sheltered from others' suffering is not the same as being separated from it. She used her wealth and her social standing to challenge systems that left children, women, elderly, and people with disabilities on the margins of society. Victoria understood something that we still need to remember today. Real change is not only about generosity. It's about changing who gets seen, who gets supported, and who gets invited into a fuller life. Victoria's legacy lives not only in the institutions that she created, it's in the quiet fact that generations still receive more support, more shelter, more care, and possibilities because she decided to act. One person long ago decided to help people. And others where she saw inequality and she changed their lives for the better. That's what a legacy really is. Of course, few of us are going to have a street named after us or inherit a castle, but that's not really the point. We all have something, some access, some influence, some knowledge or ability that might not be noticed by other people. How are we going to use our privilege? Maybe that's where our responsibility begins. Not in having everything, but realizing that what we do have might matter more than we think. So the question becomes, what is happening within our own walls? What is happening right outside of them? Who is still being excluded? Who is still being overlooked? Pity asks us to feel something for a moment, but love, courage, and responsibility ask more of us. They ask us to build. So maybe the question we ask ourselves is not if we have the solutions to all the world's problems all at once, but maybe it's something smaller and more demanding of us. What will we choose to build with what we already have, and whose life might be improved because we did?